Hello, this is Jillian, and I'm going to present my material for this presentation. I was not able to make it today, but I still wanted to present the material that I had. So I'm going to talk about trending addictions and recognizable categories of addictions within the DSM-5. So I'll focus first on the DSM-5 recognized addictions. So within the DSM-5, there's two categories. You have substance use and behavioral addiction. Now, as you can see, if you're looking at the PowerPoint now, hopefully you all are able to pull it up with a video. Substance use is a common one. Most people would assume that that would be under addictions. But I was surprised to see that only gambling is considered an addiction. I would have assumed that pornography or shopping or binge eating, possibly binge eating, could be considered a behavioral addiction. But according to the DSM-5, gambling is only a specific addiction. So I'll give you a couple statistics about addiction. So about 24 million Americans over the age of 12 have used an illicit drug or abused medication in the last month. Okay, and an illicit drug, according to the National Institute of Health, is any drug that is illegal. So that, of course, includes marijuana. I know that a lot of states have legalized marijuana, but most of these studies that I'll be using have marijuana considered as an illicit drug. Okay, and focusing on teens, most teens who abuse prescription drugs, they were given to them by friends or family members. And I found this interesting to note because as we consider family systems and how that affects individuals, specifically teens, and even children, thinking about how we would counsel people through these different stages in their family system, and how individuals within their family contribute to their behavior. And just thinking as pastors and counselors, how would we work through that situation? How would we think through helping an individual with all of these outside influences that affect the choices that they make at such a vulnerable age? So that's just one thing I wanted to consider. And going along with the teens, nearly 40% of 12th graders in high school have used alcohol, and about 20% have used marijuana in the past month. So that's another thing to note as well. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. So I'll talk a little bit about possible addictions not recognized in the DSM-5. And I say possible because there may be some traces of addiction there according to the symptoms. I'm not sure why these aren't considered addictions. I do know that within the DSM-5, the ones listed that I have on this PowerPoint, and in case you all aren't looking, that's shopping, binge eating, video games, internet, social media, electronic devices, sex, and pornography. But as I was reading, a lot of these are considered compulsive disorders, or video games specifically are considered their own mental disorder. Specifically, but they're not considered an addiction. So a lot of them are categorized under different areas, or they're symptoms of other things going on, such as depression or anxiety. Okay, so a little bit about these different possible addictions. With them, the difference that could make them a compulsivity versus an addiction, according to how the DSM defines addiction, would be the need for these different behaviors in order for the individual to have their brain levels at needed levels. Or in other words, their ability to function on a typical day without having very low depressed moods, compared to just compulsively binging on food or compulsively shopping. So in comparison to addictions, individuals would need these things. So, for example, a woman would need, or a man would need, to shop in order to make it through the day. Or if not, they would have withdrawal symptoms, which could be depression, extreme mood changes, physical changes such as headaches, just various things like that. So, and that may contribute to why the DSM-5 did not consider these addictions, because it's such a huge spectrum how people react to these different things. Okay, so I'll quickly go over some different graphs that I have. So the first one is the NIH study on mental health and addiction, and this comes from the National Survey of Drug Use and Health. And as you can see, about 70% of those struggling with addictions, according to this model, about 20,000 of those, of the study that they did, are specifically addicted to alcohol. So I find that interesting to note, because just thinking about the silence of alcohol addiction and what that could mean for pastors within the church, what that could mean for counselors within families, just thinking about how that affects different family systems and how economical or social changes may affect that. So, for example, if you have an individual who